everybody. Welcome to GH Gospel Radio, and this is your show, Let's Talk Marriage. I am your hostess, Dr. Ifua Edu Jemfi, and I'm excited to be with you this evening to discuss yet another important aspect of marriage. Tonight, we're focusing on temperaments, how temperaments affect marriage. And one would ask, what is temperament itself? Psychologists have come together to put together the fact that temperaments are inborn. You are born with your temperament. And what your temperament is like how you react and how you handle situations. So every situation that you meet, the way you handle it and the way you react to it is what your temperament is. And you are born with your temperament. And most of your time, your temperament does not change. If you are born a particular temperament, you will most likely live your life out with that temperament. It's not your fault that you have the temperaments that you have. You may wish you had another temperament, but to be very honest, you're born with it. So what happens is that whichever temperament that you're born with, you develop it based on your environment and based on your own personal choices. So even though you are born with your temperament, you are able to develop a personality on top of your temperament that makes you more productive, that makes your life easier. So, for example, let's say you're born, let me choose one of the temperaments. You're born a melancholic. You realize that your strength is not being friendly and outgoing, but you develop a personality that helps you be able to interact more with people so that you are able to build more positive relationships. It doesn't mean that you'll be all of a sudden outgoing, but it means that in spite of the fact that you are not naturally outgoing, you've been able to develop some character traits. You've been able to build some character that helps you enjoy life better or have better relationships. So tonight, our takeaway is that temperaments are inborn. You're born with whatever temperament that you're born with. And then again, with a temperament, somebody may belong to, there may be a lot of people belonging to the same temperament, but they may exhibit it in different degrees. Just like we just said, you have your social, cultural backgrounds and environmental influences helping you to develop your temperament. So you could all be in one temperament, but there will be different ways that you all exhibit it. Somebody may have a lot of the temperament traits. Somebody will be medium range, or somebody may exhibit a little bit of it. And to be honest, a lot of people have several temperaments, but we're focusing on the main one, the main way in which they react to situations. So that is what we are going to talk about tonight. I hope I have piqued your interest a little bit. So I'm going to take a minute to share the link quickly, and then we will come back and delve into temperament. One will ask, why do we even need to talk about temperament? Why do we need to know about temperament? The more you know, the easier life will be for you. Because if you are able to understand yourself, you are in tune with your own strengths and your weaknesses, and you are able to manage yourself really well so that you can achieve the goals that you have. So it's important to study temperament so that you yourself can know where you stand. You yourself would have a good idea of what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Then again, it's important to study temperament so that whoever you're with, you are able to bring out the best in them. You know what their weaknesses are, and then you know what their strengths are. So when you are making decisions, you know where you have to support them and where you have to let them lead. The other thing is that as a team, when you know what strengths both of you together have, you're able to delegate better. Let's say in a marriage, if your partner is the easygoing type and you are the more reserved type, when there's a party, you will delegate meeting the guests to the easygoing type. And then you delegate making the plans and getting things organized to the one who is more reserved. Because those people with a more reserved temperament are known to be more goal oriented and detail oriented. So as a couple, you're able to delegate, sorry, which kind of task to give to each other, which kind of task each other can handle the best. And this is where loving each other comes in. If you know that something is your wife's strength or your husband's strength, you would let them do it. You will not say that, okay, I'm the man of the house. It is my job to do this or that. No, you will play according to the strength of each other. So you will not decide according to who is the man, who is the woman. You decide according to who is better at this, who among the two of us can handle this the best so that both of us can win. So for your own good, knowing your temperament and studying what your temperament strengths are will help you in choosing your career. And even before you marry, if you are not married yet, it will help you in choosing the best partner for you or the better partner for you. Then again, it will also help you in choosing where to serve, especially for us Christians. It's important that we serve in the church family that we're in. Knowing what your temperament is will help you be able to serve better and choose better careers for yourself. It will also help you if you need to make a career change to be able to pick and choose where best you would fit because you know where your strengths are. So you always be playing to your strength. Knowing about temperaments for a couple would also help you to support each other. It helps you to understand each other better so that you don't easily get angry when your partner is doing something because you understand where they are coming from. Understanding is very important. It prevents a lot of blame, it prevents a lot of resentment because things that come naturally to a person, if you understand that whatever the person is doing comes naturally to them, you can be more patient with them. You can be more understanding so that you don't blame them as badly as if you thought they were doing it on purpose. You realize that, oh, this is not something they're doing on purpose. This is part of who they are. And then you are better able to help them manage it so that it does not destroy the both of you. So temperaments are essential, temperaments are important. They help you take stock of who you are because trust me, the temperament you're born with, most of the time, you're sort of stuck with it. You can make improvements on your character to manage your temperament, but your temperament basically is not changing. So, the best thing to do is to maximize your own strength and plan ahead or make better choices to take care of your weaknesses. And also try to put your strength together with your partner. Know where to back down if it's in the area of your weakness, and know when to take charge if it's in the area of your strength, and also understand each other better. Okay, so now let's look at the main temperament types that psychologists have been talking about over and over again and have studied well into it. And it's no known secret. I am sure, sorry, it's no secret. I'm sure that a lot of you already know about temperament. But one thing I realize is that for those things that you think that you already know, it's more likely for you to take it for granted. So I believe it's important that we revisit it and also take a few tips from there as to how to deal with our spouses depending on what temperament that they have. So let's look at sanguines. Sanguines are extroverts, and an extrovert is somebody who derives energy from being with people, people-oriented kind of persons. They get energy from working in a team. They work best when they are dealing with people. They are easygoing. They are able to make friends easily. They are not offended easily. They are very expressive, fashionable, loud. They are the life of the party kind of people. And those people are very nice to have around. They make everybody happy, and they do a lot of good. They are kind. They easily help people out. Sanguines are a whole lot of fun. Their strength is that they are very versatile. A sanguine can exist in any space and make it work because they are not going to be they adapt easily, so they can fit in a whole lot of different positions. Another strength that sanguines have is that they are able to encourage people a lot. When you have a sanguine in your life, you will not lack encouragement. They are the positive people. They are the people who uplift others easily because they don't hold grudges, and they're happy go lucky, and they care about other people, and they easily reach out. They wouldn't stay in their corner. A sanguine will always reach out, and a sanguine will always want to be around people. They are happy in the midst of people. And then they are also constantly active. When you want some life in a place, put a few sanguines in there. They'll make sure the place is active, their own lives are active. They always have something to do, and they are so fun loving. Let's look at the weakness of sanguines. Some of the weaknesses of sanguines include the fact that they can be very superficial in the way that they make friends easily. Their friendships are not very deep. You could be taking them very seriously, thinking that they are ride or die. They are the ones you found, but they don't really want to last that long. They are just on the surface with you. As the saying goes, easy come, easy goes. They are your friends, they are your best friend for a day, but tomorrow they may not even remember you anymore. So they are more of flighty in the sense that you cannot depend on them very much because they are too busy making new friends, and they are too busy moving on. So if you have a sanguine in your life, they are not very dependable. They are also people that are forgetful, and they are easily distracted. They can be working on one project at a time, and then when another project shows up that looks interesting, they will totally leave the project they were working on and move on to the other thing. And what makes them is that they are able to stay put on task to finish it and do a great job. They might just start something, leave it in the middle. So they come up, they come off as a little bit like too playful and not very serious. Yes, those are some of the weaknesses of sanguines. They can also be very impulsive. At the drop of a hat, they'll make a new decision, change direction. And it can be frustrating dealing with a sanguine because, like we said earlier, they are not very dependable. So if you're married to a sanguine, your inputs in a sanguine's life is to help them to focus. You know that they can have, they are always active, always have new plans, always have something new to do. So the best way to help them is of all the plans that they lay out, especially the ones that affect the family. If you're married to a sanguine, what you do is that you try to keep them on task. You try to keep them on course. Whatever goal that the family has decided, or you as a couple has decided on, remind them to stay on task, remind them to stick to it. When they try to move on to something else, try to draw them back and bring them back to the table. And then for a sanguine, when they get to boring task, they will easily leave it alone and move on. So things like paying bills, things like routine work, things that you have to do every day, if you leave the sanguine in charge, they probably will not get done. So if you're married to a sanguine, make sure that the routine tasks that require less exciting detail, you take that up so that the sanguine is able to be themselves and not be overburdened. So if you're married to a sanguine, help them to stay focused. And whenever the family decides on something, be the one to hold them accountable and help them to stick with it and see it through. Okay, so let's talk about phlegmatics. Phlegmatics are often called the opposites of sanguines. We said that sanguines have a lot of energy, they are outgoing, they are fun loving. So if phlegmatics are the opposites of sanguines, phlegmatics have low energy. Hello, Mr. Biney. Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to see you. Phlegmatics are easygoing. They don't like making decisions. They are indecisive, but they are very easy to get along with because they don't bring any drama. They are very loyal. They are very dependable. Some of the strengths of phlegmatics is that they are very calm and unemotional. They are not troublesome at all. And then they are very happy when others decide for them. So let's say when they are in a team or they are working with others or they are with a partner, whatever the partner decides, they are happy to go along with it. Who wouldn't like that? Whatever you say, they'll say yes. And then they also make friends easily, like the sanguines, but they are, because they are not easily offended. When you're not easily offended, it's easier to make friends. So phlegmatics also make friends easily. And then we already said they are loyal, they make friends easily, they are agreeable. They will not give you any drama. They will agree with you. They will work with you. So they are team players. The other aspects of phlegmatics is that they are indecisive. They can spend forever trying to make up their mind. And the thing is that if you're not able to decide, how are you going to move forward? So it's like you're not going, you're not coming, you're just sitting at one spot. They can be very indecisive. Another thing, another weakness of phlegmatics is that they are very slow responders. Whenever things have to be done, whenever things need to move, they will take their long, sweet time to do it. They're also afraid of change. They are not goal oriented. They are not good at starting things. They are not exciting. It's like we said that sanguines are always exciting, always on the move, always have energy. Phlegmatics are not like that. They are stable. They don't like to start new things. They don't like to chase after goals, plan that we're doing this, we're getting this done. No, they would rather sit in their own small place, be unbothered, be unmoved, and be stable. And then they are also very laid back. Nothing bothers them, nothing moves them. So when you're married to a phlegmatic, it's important that you bring the motivation all the time. Because if you leave a phlegmatic alone, he or she will be left alone till the end of time. They won't move, they won't do anything, they are not angry, They are not anxious, they are just stable. So if you are not careful, the both of you are not going to move forward. So if you're married to a phlegmatic, it's important that you encourage them all the time, you motivate them all the time, you help them to be able to decide. If both of you need to take a decision, you need to be the one to prompt them and try to get the information out of them, and then encourage them to act on it. Because if you leave a phlegmatic alone, they'll be unbothered and they'll be sitting in their one corner. But the good thing is that they are not offended by you making decisions for them. In actual fact, they are happy when you make decisions for them. So if you're married to a phlegmatic, use that to your advantage. Make sure that you're making the decisions and you're making them well, and just ask them to co-sign. They are happy to do that. So if you're married to a phlegmatic, stay on your toes. Make sure you are making the decisions. Make sure that you are checking in with them constantly to motivate them, because they can be very strong pillars. They are loyal to you. They are agreeable with you. They will stick with you. So use that to your advantage. Make sure you are making the decisions and you're motivating them to come along. They like that. They will not be offended if you make the decisions and draw them along with you. So, married to a phlegmatic, make the decisions, motivate them, pull them along with you. They like that. They are not offended by that. And even in their personal lives, you need to also motivate them to go for their goals. Try to find out what they want in their career. Try to find out what they want in their education or their own lives. And then constantly remind them, constantly motivate them, and sort of push them to go get their goals. Otherwise, they are happy to stick where they are for a very, 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 very long time. So you need to push them a lot. They are also good at working with people. So when you're looking at careers, it's a good way, it's a good place to look. They will not be offended. They will not bring drama. They will not be emotional. So they can work with people a lot. So motivate a phlegmatic partner. Help them decide, or decide for them and bring them along with you. They don't mind. They are actually happy when you decide for them. Now let's look at melancholics. So melancholics are more of detail oriented. They're usually like the perfectionist kind of people. They want everything perfect. They want everything well planned. Before a melancholic gets into any situation, they want to get as much information as possible, because melancholics do not like making mistakes and they are not spontaneous. They don't want to just get up and go. They like to plan ahead and make calculated moves. Melancholics are very, very careful kind of people. And some of the strengths of melancholics are that they follow the rules all the time. If you're married to a melancholic, they will hardly ever get tickets, because they will drive speed limits. Wherever they go, if they say be in a queue, they'll be in a queue. It's like they make life run smooth, right? Wherever they are, they want life to be smooth and not have too much drama, because putting a melancholic on the spot makes them anxious. So if you're married to a melancholic, make sure you plan ahead of time. Don't change plans on them at the last minute, because it makes them anxious and it makes them like apprehensive. Try to make plans ahead of time. Let them know this is what we are doing tomorrow, or this is what we are doing next week. It helps them to prepare and be able to come along with you. Another, oh, Auntie Mary says she has a kid in the house like that. Yes, Auntie Mary, I'm sure you really understand where melancholics are coming from because you have a relationship with one, right? So the other strength of melancholics too is that they are very factual and logical. In actual fact, if you have a melancholic in your team, just like Auntie Mary said, it's good to put them in charge of planning and organizing because they'll sit down, get the information, plan everything out nicely so that you guys can have a very good and like detailed and is like accurate plan when you give them their job to research and organize. They'll come back with good plans. You put them to use when there's planning. My colleagues are good at planning and they are good at finding the right kind of information. So if you have a melancholic in your circles, use them in the area of organizing and planning because they are really good at that. And then melancholics too is like they plan everything in advance. The reason is that if they don't, they'll be anxious. So if you have a melancholic in your life, appreciate their planning skills and go along with them because if they don't, they become anxious. And whenever anybody is anxious, they don't perform well. So be a good planner or help them by having a plan. They don't like spontaneous stuff. Have a plan or make them in charge of planning because they'll do a good job at planning for their family. And melancholics are not very likely to make mistakes because they are very careful. They will sit down, look at the situation carefully before making a move because, like we said, they are perfectionists. They do not enjoy making mistakes because it sort of demoralizes them. So if you want the thing done right, have a melancholic on your team. So their weakness is that melancholics can be so moody. Even when there's fun going on, they are frowning. It's not like they are depressed, but they do look depressed and do look sad all the time because they worry about every little thing. And then also, they take a lot of time to make up their mind, so they cannot be spontaneous. You want to make one small decision with a melancholic, and they'll take forever because they are thinking and overthinking, and then they are working themselves up into a frenzy. By the time you are aware, they are this anxious, they are in this anxious state, and it's difficult to just get through to them. So they can be overly critical, they can be judgmental, and they can also be anxious and worried. They are not often in a good mood. When you know a melancholic, they don't smile by heart. They are not happy go lucky. They are not playing. Auntie Mary really knows a lot about melancholics. Yes. Yes. So if you are married to a melancholic, the best thing you can do for them is to support them emotionally. You know that when there's something coming up, let's say you're going to have a big event, you're going to have your wedding, or you're going to plan a kid's birthday, one of your children's birthday party, or you are going to travel together. The best thing to do for a melancholic is that you plan ahead of time so that they know what is expected of them and they are able to go and do their own research and be able to be in a place where they are comfortable with what is going on. So if you're married to a melancholic, plan ahead of time or you prompt them to plan. Just let them know what is coming up. Give them good notice so that they can be on the same page with you. Melancholics do not like spontaneous things. It makes them anxious. So just tell them next week we are doing this, or we have this coming up so that they can have enough time to plan. Don't be somebody who just throws things at them at the last minute. It doesn't help them. And also, if you're married to a melancholic, be their emotional support. If you notice that they are moody, crack a joke, tell them a nice story, or just check in with them. Are you okay? Do you need anything? One thing that psychologists have found is that depression or sadness thrives in isolation. And the very nature of melancholics are introverts. They like to spend time by themselves. So if you're married to one, your job is not to force them to interact all the time, but your job is to help them get some reasonable amount of interaction in their life. For example, a melancholic would not love parties. Melancholics they don't like to have parties for themselves. They don't like attending parties. So, if you're married to one, your job may be that you would encourage them to go out more, maybe not to a party, but maybe a group of 4 or 5 friends, or even a group of 3 friends having dinner, having a walk in the park, having a conversation. It helps them. And if you realize that they are being too moody and isolated, it's good to check in with them. It's good to have a conversation with them, go watch a movie with them. What they need most from a partner is emotional support. So if you're married to a melancholic, make sure you are helping them emotionally. Give them advance notice. Whatever you, as a family, you're planning to do, don't just spring it up on them. Tell them in advance. Let them know what is going on, because they easily get suspicious of people. They want to have enough information. They easily work themselves into frenzy. They become anxious. So be kind to them by giving them enough notice. And then when you realize they are being moody, cheer them up. Be a good cheerleader. Support them emotionally. Give them a hug. Let them know that you care about them and they are doing okay. It lifts their mood and helps them make the best of their lives. So that's enough about melancholics. Now let's talk about the last but not least temperament, which is the choleric. It's been found, psychologists have found out that that choleric temperament is relatively rare. Not too many people are cholerics. And a female choleric is like there are more male cholerics than female cholerics. That's what the psychologists are saying. I don't know how they got that, but that's the research. That's what the research is saying. That cholerics are a little bit more rare than the other temperaments. Okay, so the commonest thing with cholerics is that they are very ambitious. They are very goal oriented. They think big dreams, and they are very self-confident. A choleric can talk for everybody. They can make decisions for everybody. In fact, they look more inward than outward. It's more like they are able to see only what they are thinking and what they are feeling. So they don't really pick feedback from those around them. They wake up in the morning, they know what they want, they go straight for it, they make their own decisions. They are not good team players. They work well with people in the sense that they are able to mobilize people, get people together to complete a project, but they are not very caring. They don't really get they are not really able to pick feedback from other people. They are more of, let's go for the goals, let's go for our goals. They would rather build something huge and impressive rather than care about the people that they are building it for. So the strength of cholerics is that they have very good self-confidence. A choleric is always loud, strong, and they're very strong-willed. They are also confident in who they are and confident in what they want. You cannot keep a choleric down. And because of that, they are seemingly good leaders in the sense that they will make sure the goals of the team are being met no matter what. If it means stepping on toes to get it done, they will step on toes. If it means giving people a talk to motivate them, they will do it. It's like they don't give up on their goals ever. They are so strongly focused on goals that they will make things happen and make things happen in a big way. So their strength is that they're self-confident, they are very hardworking. In fact, it's been known that cholerics require less sleep. They actually sleep less, so they have more time to work on their goals. If a choleric comes up with a goal, or if a choleric is given a goal, they will make sure it's happening. And then they are very independent. They don't need anybody to tell them what to do. They don't need anybody to motivate them. By the time they wake up in the morning, they are already motivated. They already know what they are going for. And that also feeds into making them good leaders, because when people are looking for ideas, cholerics already have ideas. So they are easy to jump on board with and then lead the pack to achieve goals. They are also very direct in communication. They don't mince words. They just come up direct to you, tell you what they want to tell you. Okay. So their weakness is that they can be very rude. They just say anything anyhow. They really don't care how you feel. They can also be unempathic. They don't have fellow feeling. They don't feel for people. They naturally don't care. They care about their goals. And then they can be very ruling and domineering. A choleric will want to control your life and tell you what to do and decide for you. They don't care that you have your own plans. They want to rule over you, tell you what to do, show you what to do, command you about, just because they feel like there's a goal in your life that you have to achieve, or there's a goal for the team that you're a part of that you have to achieve. They really don't care whether you want it or not. All they care about is, we are here, we are pushing you. They push people around a lot. And nobody really likes being pushed around. And then when they are not empathic or caring, people get really offended. Everybody would want somebody to care about them. Well, except for cholerics. They don't really care if you care about them or not. They are able to work by themselves. It's more like they really need you to survive. They got everything they need, and they will make sure they make things happen. Also, cholerics can be very argumentative. And when they are arguing, it's not like they are listening to you and also speaking back. What they are doing is they are dominating the discussion. They just want you to keep quiet for them to tell you what they have to tell you. And then you just agree and go with it. And then they are very intolerant of others. It's either their way or the highway. Cholerics don't care what you think. They don't care what you bring to the table. They don't care what plans that you have. They are not very good at collaborating. They just want to be in charge and tell everybody else what to do. And in a way, this is helpful when you have a group of people who don't who are not really sure where they are headed. So if you have somebody who is unmotivated, they will be a very good match with the choleric. So when you are married to a choleric, you need a whole lot of patience, because it will be difficult for them to listen to you. So you need to be patient in trying to overlook their attitude, their domineering attitude, their unempathic attitude, their rudeness, and you need to be patient with them. Just remind them to be more empathic. You know that whenever they are going into situations, they may go into it not caring about the people they are dealing with. So whenever you realize that the two of you have to negotiate something with somebody or deal with some people, just try to get in there and remind your choleric partner to slow down, to be more patient, to be more caring in the situation, because it's very likely that The choleric will come in and bulldoze everybody, shut everybody down, get what they want, and move on. So you, as a person married to a choleric, you need to help them to slow down and remind them, care about people, and remind them to also delegate, because it's very hard for a choleric to delegate because they feel they know it all and they are the best person for the job. So you need to just remind them that, hey, you're human. You are not always right. Let other people also help. Let other people also have a go. Don't dominate everything all the time. So you also need to slow them down a little bit. So from what we have discussed about all these four temperaments, it is very clear that because melancholics need cheering up and sanguines are natural lives of the party, it is very easy for sanguines and melancholics to marry, because you have a natural cheerleader in a sanguine and you have somebody who needs emotional support in a melancholic. So when you put the two of them together, the melancholic has the strength of being detail oriented, whereas the sanguine has the weakness of not caring about details. So when you put a sanguine and a melancholic together, or if you're a sanguine and you're married to a melancholic, the melancholic is going to keep you on your toes by planning things out properly where you don't plan things out. And you are also going to be their support by being happy and positive where they are. I mean, the melancholic is moody and sad. So it's like the strengths of a melancholic play to the weaknesses of the sanguine, and then the strengths of a sanguine also play to the weaknesses of the melancholic. So if you put a sanguine and a melancholic together, you have a winning team. Whereas the melancholic will plan everything out nicely. When the people come, they don't know what to do with them. Here comes your sanguine partner to entertain everybody, help everybody to be happy. So between the two of you, one does the planning, one does the entertainment. You're a bomb. You're a good team. So usually it's helpful when sanguines marry melancholics. It's easier because naturally you both have the temperament that can help each other out. And also when we look at cholerics and phlegmatics are indecisive, they are unmotivated, but they are loyal, and then they are strong. It's like they are dependable. Whereas cholerics want to decide for everybody, and then they also want to dictate. The phlegmatic is not easily offended. In fact, they are happy when you decide for them. So looking at the strengths and weaknesses of phlegmatics and cholerics, usually cholerics make a great team with phlegmatics. So in the way that phlegmatics are unmoved and unmotivated and not goal-oriented, cholerics will bring the goals to the table. Yes, Nadia.
Can we go to pool when Daddy wakes up?
Sure, okay. The cholerics will bring the goals and make sure that they have enough goals for the two of you. So it's usually helpful when cholerics marry phlegmatics. Having said that, we should all realize that initially, and rightly so, opposites attract. So sanguines and melancholics are attracted to each other. Phlegmatics and cholerics are often attracted to each other. But the problem is that after a while, because they both have this, they are matched with the weaknesses of the other person. If you are not a good Christian, if you don't allow the Spirit of God to direct you, after a short while, the weaknesses of partner will begin to irritate you, because it's like the things that come easily to you, they are very hard for your partner to do on both sides. Let's say the sanguine is happy go lucky and fun loving and positive. The melancholic is often pessimistic or negative and moody. The sanguine could be very irritated that the melancholic is moody. And because the sanguine doesn't like to plan too often, they are more of spontaneous and happy go lucky. They can be easily irritated by the melancholic wanting to take their time and find more information and sit down and research before they make a decision. So, in a way that opposites attract, opposites are also able to annoy each other very much. Opposites are able to get to a point that they get frustrated by their partner's weaknesses. So, what you need to do as a couple is that learn each other's temperaments. Make sure you know the weaknesses of your partner, so that when they are doing certain things, you don't hold them too, you don't go too hard on them, because, like we said earlier, you're born with your temperament. It's not like you are pretending. It's not like you are just being stubborn or you are doing it on purpose. It's who you are. But having a temperament doesn't mean that you are excused from having weaknesses. It's your responsibility to make sure that you are leveraging your weaknesses so that you are able to be more productive. Let's give an example. Let's say you're a melancholic and you're looking for a job and you go take a job in customer service. You and I know that you're not going to do a great job, because you yourself, you are moody. Who are you going to encourage? Who are you going to uplift? Who are you going to entertain? Melancholics are not very good at customer service. But if the part of customer service you are involved in involves a lot of planning, let's say you're the manager, you have to plan, you have to organize, you will do great because you're strong in organizing and you're strong in planning. In the same way, in the family, if let's say you are going on a trip, or let's say the family itself, you need to plan an event, play to your strength. Make sure that you bring your skills to the table and do the things that you are good at. Don't go take the part that you are weak at. Make sure that you are playing to your strength and you are doing those things that you are good at. When you are sharing tasks, take the parts that you know will be easier for you to do. And also be sensitive to your partner's weaknesses. Don't hold it over their head. Don't be accusing them of it all the time. Once you know what their weaknesses are, try to go easier on them in that area and try to encourage them and be supportive of them in that area. We've said here time and time again that it takes a good Christian to have a good Christian marriage. Your temperament is not an excuse for you to be like, oh, I wasn't this way, so I don't care what I do. Having a temperament means that you know what you're working with, and therefore you know where to pray, or you know where to do work and where to hold back. You know to pray about your weaknesses, you know to take your weaknesses to God in prayer, and you know to allow the Holy Spirit to help you. So you play according to your strengths and also allow the Holy Spirit to help you. Don't use your weaknesses as an excuse. A lot of times people say that it's easier for sanguines to cheat in their marriage because sanguines are happy-go-lucky. They wouldn't set boundaries. They would play with anybody, everybody, and before you are aware, they they've fallen into temptations. Somebody could say that, oh, I'm a sanguine, I'm a happy-go-lucky person. It's okay for me to be laughing with all the men or laughing with all the women and flirting with them. It doesn't matter. That's who I am. No, knowing that you have that weakness, you know that this is an area for me to work on. Every once in a while, I need to check on myself and make sure that I'm not overdoing it in the area of my weaknesses. You also need to allow the Holy Spirit to help you, to develop you. Do not use your temperament as an excuse, but rather use it as a means for you to be able to do your best. At the end of the day, we all know about the story of the talents. God, when Jesus Christ gave the parable, he said that the master was leaving and gave everybody talents according to their abilities, right? In a way, your temperament is the talent that God has given to you. You were born with it, it's not going to change. Your job is to maximize it the best way that you can. Find out what your strengths are, put them to good use, and then find out what your weaknesses are. Plan ahead to make sure that your weaknesses are not drawing you back. And don't put yourself in situations where your weaknesses will get the better of you. Put yourself in situations that your strengths can carry you along, and then your weaknesses can be minimized. And also, don't use your temperament as an excuse. Just make sure you're leveraging your strengths and you're allowing the Holy Spirit to help you to be better in your weaknesses, or you're making sure that you are not taking on activities or you're not making choices that would require you to use your weaknesses. Make choices that would require you to use your strengths. That's how you maximize your life. And most of all, let the Holy Spirit be your guide. Your temperament won't change, but your character will change. You can always build on your character. You can always make better choices. You can always make better decisions. And you can always choose to be the loving, supporting partner who is empathetic towards your partner's weaknesses and who is able to let your partner lead in the area of their strength. Don't be like, I'm the man, I got to take these decisions, or don't be like, I'm the woman, this is my job. No, if that area is your partner's strength, then naturally your partner has to be the one to take charge in that area of your marriage. So hopefully tonight we have all learned a little bit more about temperament, even though it's a very simple topic and is very well known. I hope that we've been able to remind ourselves, we've been able to create more awareness and pay more attention to the things that we need to pay attention to so that we can make each other better. The Bible says that one will take 1,000 to flight, but two will take what? 10,000. We are a couple so that we can maximize our input. By yourself, you can do 1,000, but as a team, you can do 10,000. So make sure that you are being empathetic and supportive to your partner in the area of their weakness, and that you yourself, you are using your strengths very well and allowing your husband or your partner or your wife, not partner. I said partner to mean either your husband or your wife. So make sure you are letting your husband or your wife use their strengths in the marriage so that both of you can have a more productive life. If your marriage is not improving your life, there may be something wrong. If your marriage is not making an impact on the people around you, then it means that you're doing something wrong. So join your powers, join your strengths, and be empathetic toward each other's weaknesses so that you can make a great team and you can affect your marriage, you can affect each other, and you can affect the people around you in a very, very positive way. So I thank you so much for joining me this evening. If you have any questions, just type it in the comments. If we are not able to see it before the program ends in the next 5 minutes, we will come back in another episode and answer your questions. So, God willing, next Sunday at the same time, 6 p.m. Central Time, we're going to talk about how to deal with a difficult spouse. Sometimes you realize that somebody has your partner, your wife or your husband has a particular temperament. But outside of that, they've developed some difficult character, or they've developed some character that is not helping the marriage. We're going to explore all the various different kinds of difficult partners or difficult character traits that your wife or your husband may have that is going to affect the marriage negatively, and explore some ways in which you can handle it or deal with it. So please make a date with your girl, Dr. Efwa Edujemfi, again next Sunday so that we can explore how to deal with a difficult spouse. So let's keep talking marriage, because the more we share, the more we are able to help each other. And do not forget that it takes a good Christian to have a good marriage. Have a wonderful week. God bless your marriage. And this is where I'll leave you. So, goodbye. Bye bye. God bless.